In this video, I'll explain how a major scale is built. But first, I may need to explain something about half steps and whole steps. The shortest distance between any two notes is called a half step. If we start on this C and go up to the very next closest note, we land at C sharp. This is a half step. If we start on this E and go up to the very next closest note, we land at the note F. This is also a half step. So both of these, C to C sharp and E to F, are half steps. Now, instead of moving to the next possible note, if we start on that same C and skip over one note, we land at the note D, and this is a whole step. Let's try that again, starting on E again. If we skip over one note, we land at F sharp, and this is also a whole step. Now, once we understand half steps and whole steps, we can apply it to our major scale. The major scale is built in a pattern of half steps and whole steps. And this pattern is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. On the piano, if we start with C and use only the white notes, this pattern happens naturally. Now, this only works if we start on the note C because of the half steps that naturally occur on the piano between E and F and B and C. If we start on G instead, this pattern does not quite fit. From G to A is a whole step. A to B is whole, half, whole, whole. Now here we need a whole step and we're in trouble, because E to F, we already said, is a half step. So in order to keep our pattern, we'll have to turn that F into an F sharp. And after we add that sharp, the pattern works again. But here's the good news. You don't have to count half steps and whole steps every time you want to build a major scale. Our key signatures do all of this work for us. For example, a G major key signature includes one sharp. It includes the F sharp. Once we have that in place, in order to build a major scale, we just have to start on G and include an F sharp once we get to that F. This is why it's so important to have our key signatures memorized, so you don't have to spend all your time counting half steps and whole steps. Let's try the same thing on F this time. If you remember, the key signature of F has one flat. So to build our F major scale, we just put in our one flat, our B flat, and start the scale on F. If you're rusty on key signatures, check out my video, Key Signatures. I think I have 5 of them. But part 1 explains the major key signature, and that's all you need in order to build this scale. And then you can use Music Theory Pro to practice identifying the key signatures.